if you mentioned Liam Peterson, and I know you saw Florida, let's transition to your trip to Gainesville. Certainly a program, without a head coach right now, without their top assistant who left for Tennessee. So certainly some, uh, I guess, some things to work through during their fall, but the talent is there. I saw them, a couple, I guess 3 weeks ago now, and was really impressed with them on the mound, and also the top of their lineup is, I think, is going to match up with anybody. We'll see what how lengthy it is, but love to get your thoughts on them. What did you see? What really stood out?
Once again, it's a parade of dudes just throwing 97, and look, that's been the case most years for Florida, and it doesn't always amount to a great pitching staff, but man, it's a good starting place.
Yeah.
If you're starting from there, you've got an edge.
Right.
And so there's that. It's that again, and so that really stands out. I didn't get to see Brennan Lawson. Apparently, he has a minor something. Doesn't seem to be a big concern, but he did not play. Carson Bowen, their TCU transfer catcher.
Yeah, he's just catching.
Yeah, just catching. Caught a couple innings. Didn't hit. So a little nicked up there with some of their top guys, but that just gives you a chance to see some other guys. Offensively, the guy who stood out for me is Cade Kurland, and maybe it was just a small sample thing, but the quality of his at bats was really good in this exhibition, and that's where things could get a little squirrely on him in the past. Is that obviously he's had a great career already, but he'll swing and miss some, and he'll swing at some pitches that he shouldn't, and he can get got with really good off speed stuff. But I saw him in just this one day against Georgia Southern. A team that has talent on the mound. This is not nobody's. With some really good takes, just letting changeups drop off the table, not swinging at the slider away. He was just, they were trying to slider him to death, and he just wasn't having it. So I just came away with him as more mature hitter, I think. He was disappointed to have last season go the way it has gone, and when you combine it with the injury he played through in the previous season, it's been a frustrating couple of years for him. So I kind of have this sneaking suspicion that we're going to get a monster year out of Cade Kurland that'll see him off into pro baseball. But I mean, let's face it, like, I didn't expect him to still be, even after last year's injury, I didn't expect him to be back. I just thought, well, that's a bummer that he lost his last year in college, but he'll get drafted, he'll move on. Well, that didn't happen the way that he would have wanted. So it gives him another chance to come back. And I think he might be on the precipice of just one of those monster seasons that we see.
Yeah. So positionally, Sam Miller's a guy that's competing for that shortstop spot. Ethan Sirowich, I mean, he really showed off. He's the Ole Miss transfer, had a couple of hits, including a bomb when I saw him. What did you see out of them? And maybe a guy like maybe it's Landon Stripling, maybe it's Hayden Yost, some of these other guys who were there on the team last year, but could have an increased role this year. Cade McDonald is another one.
Yeah. Surowick looks the part. It wasn't his best day. I'd have to look at the box score to see what he did exactly, but it just was an average day at best there. But like, when he impacts the ball, like, he really gets into it. Like, that's I mean, I think the hype on him is real based on the look there. You mentioned Miller at shortstop. Super steady guy, and they went out of their way. I talked, after the exhibition, we had a chance, the media, to talk to Cade Kurland and Luke McNeely, and one of them, I honestly forget which one, went out of his way. I guess it was probably Kurland, because he has a lot of interaction with middle infielders. Went out of his way to talk about Miller as just like how good he's been for the team this fall, and just the way he goes about his business and the way he handles things. And that's no surprise. An Ivy League grad transfer, like, those guys are probably pretty well put together. So he's made an impression. Then you mentioned Landon Stripling, and I'm glad you did, because I might have forgotten it otherwise. He's apparently had a tremendous fall. Obviously has always physically looked the part. And when he was at Texas Tech, it was like, this is Texas Tech's next big slugger, and it just wasn't quite that. And then last year he gets to Florida, and the fact that he's a little positionless didn't help him. But then he never quite got going, and so he kind of got passed over when it comes to spots in the lineup. But looks like he's making a name for himself now, and the same questions linger, right? Like, where do you put him defensively? Is he just a DH? I guess we'll see. But it looks, based on what we've seen so far this fall, that he is going to be he's going to be a bat that they want in the lineup day to day.
Yeah. Then on the mound, man, I mean, you alluded to it when you started all the velo. Was there somebody, I mean, outside the usual suspects that really caught your eye?
Josh Reitner is probably the guy that comes to mind. Big time freshman name that missed last season due to injury. He's back up to 98 in my look. And it's just like, that's just like a bonus piece for Florida, where it's like you kind of forget about him because he was injured all last season, but here he is, and it's just total blow it by you stuff. And, we'll see what it amounts to, but it is just kind of like a found money situation for Florida. This wasn't a portal guy. This isn't a transfer. This isn't anything like that. Like, this is just a guy that, they just didn't have last year, and now they do. So, he's the one that stood out to me as just like, whoa, holy cow. Like that's such a value add for them. I'm most fascinated though by the competition for the third starter spot. Now, obviously they're working from a position of strength that the first few spots in the rotation are basically all but locked up. Aiden King and Liam Peterson in some order are going to be 1-2 there. If you made me choose today, I'm choosing between Luke McNeely and Russell Sandifer for that spot. I would say Luke McNeely started against Georgia Southern and was awesome. And apparently he's had just a great fall. It's not just velo, it's the secondary stuff has come along. He looks like a complete pitcher. But there is the thing of Florida loves that Brandon Neely style reliever where, he can come in and get you the last 9 outs, get you the last 12 outs. He can come in the third inning if you get a short start and get you to the back end. That's a little bit of a security blanket in the Florida program, and Luke McNeely could be that guy too. So, I think that's a good problem to have, but it is something they're going to have to figure out what role they want McNeely in. And then Sandifer is a UCF transfer that, just looks like he's one of those classic transfers where you look at what he did at his previous stop and you kind of say, okay, he's a nice piece, but then shows up and you realize like, oh, there's all this untapped potential. I mean, the stuff is really, really good. I think he was up to 96 in my look. But it could be a situation where it's less that Sandifer beat out McNeely or whoever else, and more that they want McNeely in the relief role, and then Sandifer moves in on Sunday. But again, like, it's like arguing about drapes in your dream home. It's like, I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but we're talking about
champagne problems. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Champagne problems. And so, but yeah, so I'm fascinated just to see how they play that, because it does strike me that they have a lot of flexibility there.